Welcome to another Star Wars book review here on a podcast named Tim. I am Zach, and today we're going to be discussing Star Wars The High Republic Light of the Jedi, which of course is the first canon novel of the long anticipated and waited for the High Republic era of publishing the big multimedia, just massive plan that Lucas Publishing has decided to launch us on. Before I get into the review, there may be some spoilers. The book has been out since January 5th. This is a little over a month later. And of course, as always, I did it by audiobook through Audible. Don't have any sponsorships or anything through them yet. But that's what I used for my review of it. And please, do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of Star Wars content, Power Rangers, and movie reviews, and other things as well. So, is The Light of the Jedi, or Light of the Jedi, a good, essential Star Wars book? And I would say it is definitely an essential book. Good, I think we're going to look back on it later into the future as a much better book, and I'll get into that why. I'm going to try and take a deeper dive in some respects in some of my other book reviews, because I guess we should say that the High Republic is a big deal, and that's part of the reason why. Is that Lucasfilm, or Lucas Publishing, LucasArts, one of those conglomerates underneath Disney, has decided to launch its own universe of Star Wars. They're tired of playing in the sandbox of the Skywalker saga. And I understand that, certainly so. They want to have be able to make their own mark on the Star Wars story and universe. Obviously, in the old canon, there was a lot of books that went way after the Skywalker saga, and obviously we got the Old Republic, which is beloved by fans. I know a lot of fans, such as myself, have been craving a return to the Old Republic, but it would be a terrible business idea from Disney, and only in this regard. Star Wars fandom, as you know, likes to be very negative about things. And I think if they were to ever try and go and do something in that space, there would be a lot of backlash to change. I'm assuming they would change some things. And so I can imagine they went to this the High Republic era 200 to 300 years before the movies, just so that they could say, no one could say, well, Legends did it better. This is their own story. They're the ones telling it. You can't really compare it to anything else. And I think that was a wise business decision. Eventually, we may get something from the Old Republic, but this was a good chance to jump off and do their own thing. And is the book good? I would say yes. It has its issues, like every other book and every other story. Nothing is perfect. It had a daunting task before it, which is to introduce a completely kind of new idea and version of Star Wars to Star Wars fans that both, respects the lore and fandom, and but also, is its own thing. And I think they did a very good job of trying to balance that out. The book, and they also, of course, had to introduce us to all the new characters of the High Republic. I don't know if they did as good of a job in that regard. I found a lot of the characters to be forgettable. And part of that is just my own issues with jumping around and having such a large ensemble of casts, is that I just have a hard time remembering that many characters. I like more focused character books. I could throw on like a Darth Bane or something of that nature, where it's very focused, very few characters. When you're getting into something like this, where there's, I don't know, I think we might have met, it seemed like 10 different Jedi. It was at least 6 that were kind of main focal points, plus the Chancellor, plus this Senator, plus this nerd tech guy, plus the Nihil and their own structure. I mean, you're introducing a lot of people and trying to introduce this new version of Star Wars. So it was a lot to handle. And I think Charles Soule, I don't know if I mentioned already, the author of this, who has done a lot of comic books for Star Wars, very good comics as well. The Darth Vader stories he's done were excellent. That's a lot to do. This is his first novel, and I think he did a very good job. It's just there was a lot of characters to get into, and that's something that I struggle with, even when it's just an audiobook. But let's talk about the Jedi at this time, or where we're talking about what is the High Republic. The idea here is that it is the height of the Republic. Everything is peaceful and great and kumbaya. The Jedi at their best. The Republic's at its best. When we, as Star Wars fans, have been introduced into Star Wars, that's kind of, obviously the Republic at its lowest, and then completely being destroyed and turned into the Empire. So this is prime Republic. And they did a good job with the Jedi of explaining kind of how they're different but the same. They, at least touching on it to start off, they wear more elegant clothes, like whites and gold, and they have like battle gear and formal gear, and it's not just the plain brown robes that we're used to. They seem to have a lot more personalities. There seem to be largely more variety of views on the Force and how it should work, and it wasn't as dogmatic of a religion, or whatever you want to call it. So I think they did a really good job of showing the Jedi in a different light and kind of how they do it. But I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, but there's a lot that they put into this book. The actual story is basically their Starlight Beacon. The Starlight Beacon is about to be opened up, and it's kind of this big embassy that's going to be out in the outer realm. The Republic has finally reached out there. They want to bring them in. They want to make them. We are all the Republic is one of the big phrases of the book, and it's kind of the slogan for Chancellor. And this is about to open up, and then things go bad. And by things going bad, I mean, and this is the part of the book that I think is the best, the idea of the emergences. So basically, there's a ship traveling through hyperspace, and it is attacked, explodes, and because of this, the ship exploded in hyperspace, and so the bits and pieces of it are coming out of hyperspace at very fast speeds, obviously, at different times and in different areas. And so it's this danger where you have like this scatter shot of super light speed, whatever, ship that can blow up planets or attack things, and it's unpredictable. And so they have to shut down the hyperspace lanes in the area, and the Jedi and the Republic are working together to figure out what caused it, how often is it going to happen, can we figure out how to stop it, and that's the main crux of what the Jedi are doing. On the other end are the villains, who are okay. The Nihil are, in some respects, just pirates. I know that's people might disagree with me on that, but they're marauders, pirates, what have you. I had a hard time getting into them, and I think part of the issue is we know the Sith, and we know how big of a threat that they are to the Jedi. And when this was being pitched and hyped up, they were talking about how the Nihil would question the Jedi and make them question themselves and who they were and all this. And from where we are now, I don't see how the Nihil are going to cause the Jedi and the Republic to begin that downward spiral into what we would know as the Jedi and the Republic by the time of the movies. Maybe I'm wrong. There's certainly more there than they have shown us. They did a lot of ham-fisted foreshadowing in some respects. I'm just curious to see how that'll work. So what the Nihil are, again, they're this group of marauders out in the Outer Rim, and the big thing they have this system where they have three kind of lieutenants. They each kind of have equal say to vote on missions, and then they kind of have they're anarchists in some respects. They just want to take what they want, drink, party, plunder, all the things you would expect from pirates. But the one thing that sets them apart is paths. And that is where the Eye, that's what his title is. It's Marchion Ro, which we find out is not his real name. but he doesn't want to tell us his real name, and that's one of the ham-fisted, like, foreshadowing things I'm talking about. He's clearly has had some connections or run-ins with the Republic and with the Jedi, but he doesn't want to say what they are. And we're waiting to see kind of where that works. But basically, he has control over the pass only because he has this old woman who is a Santeca, related to Laura Santeca from the Force Awakens, the old guy from the beginning of the movie. And he controls her, and she basically just like spits out these paths. And what they are basically like shortcuts, cheat codes into the hyperspace lane so that you can go hyperspace wherever you need to go and just pop up and show up wherever you need to go without actually using hyperspace. And it's not like, to me, explained how this works, and I don't think we're supposed to know at this point. Basically, because they have the ability to show up wherever they need to want to show up and circumvent the normal travel, it creates a situation where even though everything else is shut down, they're able to cause havoc. And Marchion Ro wants to take the Nihil from being just this gang to being a kind of a galaxy-wide menace. And he has a bone to pick with the Republic and the Jedi, but we don't know what it is yet. And that's really kind of what the book is about, is you're slowly building to... The Nihil come in very late in the book, in my opinion. And I would like to spend a little bit more time with them in the beginning. Would like to know more about Marchion Ro. As far as the Jedi, there's like 8 of them. There's a Wookiee Jedi. There's Trandoshan, which I don't know if they ever had any issues. There's Avar Kriss, who I think is leading the Starlight Beacon now. There's Lord and Greystone, something like that. He's a Twi'lek. He was cool. I liked him a lot. He kind of gave me a Qui-Gon vibe. There's like 3 other people. There's a lot of Jedi in this. And yeah, it was good, but there's just so many characters and so much going on where they're introducing all this new world, and it almost felt like, in some respects, you're not reading a Star Wars book because everything's so new, and that's what some of the other books benefit from. Is they have a crutch they can lean on where we as a reader, we know who Luke Skywalker is, or we know who Leia is, or we know what Tatooine is, or whatever. And so we kind of are able to mentally jump into the book much quicker. We have a shortcut to get into it. And this, they had to build from the ground up. And I think it's a good first step. I started Into the Dark, which is the young reader novel by Claudia Gray, which I love Claudia Gray, so I'm excited to review that. But I think we're going to look back on this book once we complete the full arc of the High Republic, and I don't know how long this is supposed to last. Again, this is going to be books, comics, what have you, everything. I don't know if there's going to be games, but it's going to be across a lot of different platforms. And I think we're going to look back on this later on when we know who these characters are and what they've been through and what this moment in time meant when this ship exploded and what it caused. We're going to be able to go back to this book later and appreciate it a lot more for what it set up, just because it did set up a lot. But that's kind of my general thoughts on the book. I think it is worth reading. Obviously, if you want to be invested and get involved in Star Wars books, now is the time, because the High Republic already has 2 books and then a young reader book out. They're going to be coming out with more this year, and it's a good spot to where you can just kind of jump in from the start. And that's what's really exciting about it, from the start, and kind of share this journey with everyone else. And so I think it is worth reading, and if you want to read Star Wars, it is essential, because this is going to be the focus of Lucas Publishing for the time being. With that being said, I have nothing else to add on the book. Please let me know your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you not like it? I don't really have a grading system here. I just kind of general soliloquies that I, have verbal diarrhea when I come in here and talk about these books and everything. But I hope you appreciate my thoughts, and be happy to chat with you in the comments below, or wherever, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff about it. Please follow us on all those. Podcast named Tim, and we'll see you next time for whatever, probably Into the Dark as far as these series. But we have some other Star Wars books we're reviewing as well. See you next time here on a podcast named Tim.